Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, let me just get the link. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of News Fist. I'm your host, Christopher Carrion. And with me here is Christian, Christ himself. Indeed. How you doing, Christian?
I am good, thank you very much. Yes, just had dinner and I'm ready to roll, man. Let's do this.
Indeed, we are ready to roll. I'm just posting the links to Telegram now. Hopefully we'll get some viewers.
Yeah,
It's posting
roll
like
on a
mad.
team.
Come on, everybody. Come on our stream. You know you want to. Come on. What else have you got to do on a fucking Tuesday night at 7 p.m.? Nothing. That's the answer. You got nothing. You got nothing to do except embrace the news fist. And oh my God, do we have a lot of news to fist this evening? So much news. I got a list a mile long of all kinds of shit. I don't even really know where to start, actually, to be perfectly honest.
You did send a ton of stuff to me. Yeah,
I did, and I have expanded that list massively since it started. Pavlov has said that he will come on, but we will do a little bit of news first before going into the general announcements. So to begin with, US world-shattering news. The Trump challenge the election continues to rumble on. There is a case in Nevada that he is referencing. Apparently, I believe it's Clark County. Apparently, the voting was so bad that a whole bunch of votes, I think 16,500, needed to be thrown out in a Democrat versus Democrat congressional race. But you see, they're on the same ballots as the presidential candidates. So if those ballots are screwed, then, Trump has a reasonable argument to be like, well, the ballots are wrong. You know what I mean? That's not good. Biden is pimping himself as the office of the president-elect, which is not a real thing. And he's not really the president-elect yet, as Congress has indeed confirmed. Some organ of Congress, I should have this up, but I don't, basically send a letter saying, you're not president-elect yet until the court case is over and stuff like that, obey the Constitution. But I don't think Biden cares. He's rolling on like the hair sniffing grandpa.
He's picking his cabinet, isn't he?
Oh, he's picking his cabinet. Such a diverse cabinet full of stunning and brave people. His chief of staff is going to be like a black lesbian, I believe. How about it? World of first black lesbian in candidate. I don't know about you, Christian, but that's certainly what matters to me in a politician. Definitely not how good they are at doing the job, but their sexual preference and race. I think that's by far the best way to.
Yeah, absolutely. I want rainbows. I want all kinds of colors. I want fizz and I want pop. I want sparkly, sprinkly looking things. And no, for sure, man, for sure. Diversity is not even. I think diversity has become too much of a bland and dreary name. We need to, we need to be talking about other ways to make things 5-dimensional diversity.
We do. And what more firsts are there left to breach after we have had, black, lesbian and trans people, in the heights of power? Will we see an alien member of Congress?
64 different sexual preferences, please.
Absolutely.
They're changing their identities every day, so it's always new and always fresh.
Now that's a good idea.
Yeah.
First person to change sex whilst in Congress, for example, or first person to I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right there, Christian. I think a politician
we can make multiple personality disorders. A multiple personality disorder a daily and hourly thing. And I think it would be a lot of fun. People getting on TV and doing their interviews and changing mid-sentence to the opposing kind of voice there, and back and forth, and just make it cool, make it just make it freaking interesting, man.
That is a really, really good idea. I mean, but you got to be careful, right? Like, what if it's a black lesbian woman who has multiple personality disorders, but one of her personalities is a really, really racist white Southern KKK member? I mean, that's not going to go down, very well. So, you'll have to make sure that these multiple personalities are correctly curated. That they're only the correct personalities.
I don't know, man. Maybe this is exactly why everyone says, of any degree of wiseness, you have to get into the head of your opponents and stuff. And what about actually truly getting into the head of your opponent by becoming your opponent for a while every day, and doing the whole the deep intricate evolved sense of really discovering your own diversity within, and
discovering your own diversity within. Man, you should write ad copy for Dove soap. I swear to God, or how's this, right? Like a suppository company, like, say like GlaxoSmithKline comes out with like a new suppository, especially for, black trans people, discover the diversity within. I mean, that would just be a great slogan, What can you,
It might help the Democrats to get good with the the other as well again, because they have been getting extraordinarily bogged down in the whole race and sexuality and feminism kind of thing for the last few years, and they have been it's been a problem for us on the other side of the aisle there. So I say, absolutely, guys, all of you, just feel free to go completely, really embrace the diversity and these kind of cracked up racial theories and stuff. Bring them into yourselves. Try and become your enemies if you can, and get ahead of this stuff and figure it out for yourselves.
I mean, I personally look forward to the first transracial person in Congress. So someone who was white but then became black, or someone black who became white. Although I can't imagine that that's going to be very, very popular, especially the going from white to black thing. And I don't imagine the opposite will be very, very popular either, to be perfectly honest.
Well, Biden's already said that he doesn't support people who are black being Republicans. So they're, according to him, they're not black anyway, right? So we have a lot of white black people on the side of the Republicans now, according to him. So I'm not sure if he's ever going to let them back unless they change their political outlooks and stuff. So it is getting pretty strange, I must say. There's a lot of nonsense out there now, and it's just I think things have just been ramped up to 11 given what's just happened. And I think I was honestly thinking today there's a good chance that the Democrats are actually slightly scared now. And if there has been, as we were saying, the chances of some electoral fraud on a pretty massive scale, as people like Sidney Powell are saying, it might well be that they've pushed the Republicans a little too far, and if they are trying, again, I know you've seen this as well, the media have been just ignoring these facts about multiple irregularities across the United States. If this is the case, then the Democrats are going to have to really think about what they're going to do going forward, because they will be trying to deal with an open lie. And I think I think the Republicans are.
Oh, come on, man! Come on, man! If it turns out, right, like when this gets to court, right? They're going to discover a couple of things, right, based on what I've been reading. So the first thing is that Dominion Voting Systems and InterCivic and the companies linked to them are really, really bad. And although it is popular on the left to say that, that this is just a new thing discovered by the Republicans, it's not, man. I mean, I've heard of Dominion Voting Systems before, right? Years ago. The hacker community have been saying that they are unsound for years. They're a running joke. Right? You know, how easy it is to hack these things. And now we know why, apparently.
Do we have a list of the countries these Dominion voting systems have been used in to flip votes?
Well,
I think there's a few, aren't there? It really
there's some. I mean, apparently, the company linked to them, Scytl, SCYTL, is used in like a whole bunch of countries, including Australia and the UK and some EU countries. And there is indeed a rumor that has been going around. I cannot confirm this, but it's being repeated quite heavily that the US Army, in fact, seized the Scytl servers in Frankfurt, Germany. And apparently this has all of the original voting data on it that was sent direct from all the voting counties in the US. So, I mean, big if true, ladies and gentlemen, big if true. We have Pavlov joining us as well. Hey, Pavlov. How you doing, man?
Yo, how's it going?
Yeah, good. We're just doing a news rundown at the moment.
You mean a news fist?
I will give you the news fist. Dial it up, baby. So let's see, what else have we got? Oh yes. So if Trump wins, my prediction is that there will be so much salt we will probably have to create like a new moon or asteroid in order to store it. Indeed, it could actually be a climate change problem. All of that salt could in fact affect the oceans. It could cause crops not to grow. There will be salt falling from the skies, ladies and gentlemen. Seriously though, it is going to be insane. And of course the riots that, you know, everyone will be able to look forward to. You know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I think of the weekend, what I really, really like to look forward to is a nice riot. You know, nothing quite gets the blood up like a good riot. You know, having your home burned down.
Hell yeah, it's good fun. I mean, and I think you know, we'll really begin to see the right flex their muscles this time around as well.
Oh,
you know, people have been taking it easy, biding their time. You know, playing pop gun with their rifles in their gardens and stuff. When you know, big forest ridden kind of gardens with huge amounts of space. Because we know a lot of these good old boys have a lot of room in their gardens because they live in the country and stuff. Rugged outdoor kind of people, and not to belabor the point too much, but I think they're getting a little bit angry. And as I said, if it's true, then they're going to have a good. I think the founding fathers would be pretty. You know, they'd be behind these fellas, these girls and guys. So we will, it'll be interesting.
Did you see the Million MAGA march in Washington DC?
Some of it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Lots of
man. Yeah. Oh my God. So it was pretty insane. I was watching a lot of footage on Twitter from this. And so all these Trump supporters turned up. I don't know if it was a million, but holy crap. It was a lot of very, very beefy looking dudes, you know. And so Andy and Brandy Tifa, the Antifa family, showed up to, you know, be the little scallywags that they are. Oh, Antifa, you know, they're just mischievous. You know, you can't keep them down. They're always just causing trouble.
Antifa is an idea, man. Antifa is
That's right. It's just an idea, you know, much like Islamic State, you know.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And so Antifa basically got the living shit kicked out of them, to no one's surprise, might I add. I mean, they were basically taking on the Proud Boys. And yes, the Proud Boys, the notable white supremacist group led by a guy called Enrico Torre. Funny name.
Yeah, I mean, a very
for
white
head of a white
supremacist
supremacist
as well.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Poster children for white America completely not. Did you hear as well? I think that there was a video that was going around, and one of the Trump supporters got hit pretty badly from behind, like sucker punched. The fella that sucker punched him turned out to be a pedophile, child molester.
Yeah,
Convicted
there's all kinds of just terrible footage. There's footage of Antifa like harassing like people walking with their kids. There's footage of Antifa like throwing fireworks at like people dining outside. There's footage of the Proud Boys beating the crap out of some Antifa guys. There's footage of an Antifa lady, I use this term reservedly, brandishing a knife at some of them and then getting knocked upside the head. Oh man, it's brutal, you know. Drew Hernandez was there, gave this speech. Man, that guy is fiery. I mean, he was spouting some fighting words, man. He was all like, fuck communism, fuck Antifa, you know, you guys want to take our country, well, fucking come get it, you motherfuckers. Yeah, man, it was bold. There was some bold statements. I gotta say, I have noticed that there are quite a few Hispanic and black people in amongst the white supremacist racists. I can only attribute this to some kind of very skilled brainwashing, you know, probably internalized white supremacy or something. I mean, it stands to reason that the only people who would support Trump are racists. I mean, you know, I've heard this a million times, so it must be true because, as everyone knows, anything that
Nazis as well. Don't forget the Nazis.
It's so Nazis. You know, all of the Nazis carrying that new Nazi flag that looks very similar to the United States flag. I presume they've just altered it in some very sneaky kind of way, so you can't tell the difference. You know, to uninitiated eyes. That's probably how they hide. You know what I mean? They're probably like, everyone will think it's American flag. It looks like an American flag, and it's broadly symbolizing the things that America are for, but Nazism, obviously. I mean, you know, do you even have to ask?
They probably got that, you know, the glow in the dark paint there. You know, so they put glow in the dark paint swastikas, sorry, on all the flags and stuff, right? So you go,
no. They painted in secret.
You can see them, and like everyone else can't. It's like they live type scenario where they've got the glasses there. You can see the Nazi flags. Everyone else is just seeing, it's America. It's just America.
Exactly. Unless
MAGA,
you're in the
MAGA
know.
hat to read something completely different, you know.
Yeah, man. Exactly. That's how they organize, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, to move on with the news. To make a brief callback to the thing about Dominion. Sidney Powell, who used to be Michael Flynn's lawyer, is currently making the case against Dominion voting. She's a fiery peanut. I'll tell you what. She is asserting that they have literally thousands of witnesses who are prepared to testify and stuff. Big if true. And
millions of votes as well, not just thousands or hundreds of thousands. But she said pretty straightforwardly, this Trump won by a landslide, and he won with millions of votes, which would easily switch all of those the states there. Sorry, what's it called? The flip states. So again, I'm not entirely sure what she's doing. She is someone with some pretty impeccable credentials. And she's a serious lawyer. She kicks some ass.
No, she's not. She's working for Trump. How can she be a serious lawyer?
No,
like Giuliani, right? Like you got to understand, as soon as someone works for Trump, right? No matter what.
She's from North Carolina, dude. That's all we need to say about that. She's a Southerner. She's from the South,
and she's white. I mean, I know she's a woman, but you know her whiteness by definition.
Are you sure she's a woman? I'm not sure about that, man. Could be a. No, I'm not too sure about that.
You know, I got to say, I really love this development in modern society, you know, because before the progressive stack, right, and before you use things like race and sexuality to, like, you know, form a hierarchy, I had to actually treat people based on their individual actions, and I hated that. You know what I mean? Now
Yeah,
it's
very
so much
hard work,
easier.
right?
I can
It
just
takes
look
time.
at someone, look at the color of their skin, you know, or like just know a few really surface things about them, and suddenly I know whether I'm lesser or greater than them in a moral sense. It's so convenient. Like really,
Yeah,
you know, I can see
judging
why it's
people's
spread
character
like
takes
wild.
brain power, man. It's difficult. It's really hard. Actually, getting to find someone out and ask questions and stuff, and you know,
Oh, I
they're
know,
trying
right?
to
I know. Who's
chart them
got the
against.
time?
Yeah, really. No, not for me, man. If you're good looking, I'm definitely going to cozy up to you a lot more than otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I'm a visual person anyway. But Jesus, listening to people talk and then trying to, you know, insert some standard of morality over other people. Nah, not my thing.
So listen, both of you guys, please spread the link around because at the moment we have a total of 3 viewers.
Whoa, bro,
that
you
up,
can't
man?
say that, man. You can't say that, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. You need to do like the casinos. You know, casinos never have clocks.
Right.
You see what I mean?
I meant, of course.
They don't have clocks so that people don't realize how much
See-
time you've been fucking sitting there. Same
Yeah,
You
I don't
can't
want
say
to
that you
pick
have.
my phone up at the moment because I'm scared of screwing this thing up and having to log back on again. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it, I think. But this is gonna be something I'll do next time.
Many viewers. Hello to our
Yeah,
many,
millions.
so many
Oh,
viewers
yeah.
that we have, you know. Anyway, right, to get on, what else is going on in the US? Oh, so Oregon has basically gone into complete lockdown and apparently is restricting travel into and out of the state. Possible secession for the fine state of Oregon. Don't worry, now that they've legalized drugs, I'm sure everyone will be too high to fucking notice.
They're
they legalized
pretty state,
drugs.
aren't they? They're quite
Sorry?
blue.
When did they legalize drugs?
Oh, it was in the last election. Actually, it was on the
was it?
ballot. So, I mean, I presume what they're going to do is basically decriminalize, like make possession of drugs, like not illegal. But they're not going to get the government to distribute drugs or anything. So it'll be a massive boon for organized crime, which I'm sure will make the entire state a better place because, as you know, organized drug cartel dealers are some of the finest people. Really
man,
fine.
fuck the police. Yeah, that's how it is, bro.
Well, there won't be any police. So
exactly, there'll be cartels. They'll be just.
So Oregon will effectively become northwestern Mexico. Can't wait.
Oof.
I'm already booking my ticket. You know what I mean? Heroin and random violence. I mean, what more could you ask for, right?
Dude, like some of the worst videos that you can ever see in your life, like the fucking scummiest shit that happens is in Mexico between the different cartels. Dude, they fucking catch each other's, like other people around, people from different cartels, and they fucking cut them to pieces, man. It's insane. It's insane.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know about Oregon. I'm thinking these are pretty chilled, like country bumpkin people. I think that, you know, it's a very white state, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we should really say
money up there,
Portland.
and everyone's obviously high, and you know they've got the big welfare situation. So I think they're doing reasonably well. It's going to be the kind of hippie. Isn't that ice cream from Oregon? What's it called? But Ben and Jerry's. Are they not Oregon?
Yeah,
based?
but Ben and Jerry's is cucked, man. Ben and Jerry's has the resist flavor.
Really?
Pablo,
bro, I shit you not, man.
What is the flavor of resistance? Is it kind
bro,
of
I don't know,
probably a nasty aftertaste, or?
Dude, it probably tastes like shit, but you know, literally like shit. But look, you can actually share screen. Go to Google right now. Go to Google, and hold on. I can actually share my screen, and maybe I can. There's like an option, you know. There's mute, there's cam, microphone, and then there should be leave studio and share screen. Do you see it? Do you see the share screen option?
I do. Yes. I've figured out how to share the screen. Hang on a second. Let's Google Ben and Jerry's
resist flavor.
Flavor.
I feel like prison food.
I bet it tastes like sorrow, ashes, and regret, or possibly.
Yeah. I'm thinking prison, some kind of amalgam of prison food or something like that.
Oh, that sounds very tasty. Okay, so we're going to try a screen share test. Don't worry, millions of viewers that we have. So many millions of viewers. Wait, okay, let's see.
This time next week, man, trust it. Everyone will know who we are.
How can they stay away is more the question.
That's it. Now you press exit.
Right, is it working?
Yeah,
here we go.
It is.
Pecan resist.
Yeah. That's it, man. That's the one.
Oh, mate, that is just so delightful.
Oh man.
Pecans, of course, something that definitely grows without capitalism. I am absolutely sure. Here we go.
Is there any is there any communist iconography on the thing? Any real socialist power kind of iconography?
Most likely.
Pecan resist. Holy shit! I mean that is literally like a joke. Like I would almost think that was.
I know, man. I know. Like it sounds like a joke, but fucking look. You want communist iconography? Look at the left person on the picture, the left POC. He has a nice little fist bunched up. You see.
Look, we have
there.
copyrighted the fist. I think we should launch a lawsuit against all the other people using it. We own the fist. Obey the fist. We are the fist.
That's
not
it,
you.
Man. That's it.
We might have, less followers, but we have more heart. And at the end of the day, isn't that really what it's about, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Fist
or be fisted. Fist or be fisted.
Exactly.
How the world works.
Exactly. The Hobbesian choice. Okay. COVID news. So, in a surprisingly shocking development, Elon Musk tweeted that he got 4 COVID tests in one day. 2 of them came back positive and 2 of them came back negative. Very, very confusing. Elon Musk then had a big discussion on Twitter with a bunch of people. Fortunately, I have the link. Got it right here.
You can share it too,
Yes, I can. This is a new format, ladies and gentlemen, where we will be trying to share Twitter and stuff as we talk about it. No one has ever done this before. Groundbreaking.
I'm not seeing anything myself. I have to admit, I'm going a bit blind here, but I'm only from my side.
There we go. Is it working?
It's working. It's working.
I've only got in the show, man, and the infinite screen for everything that you put up before we started this.
Well,
but it's all right. Don't worry. You just go for it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's not the original tweet. This is the tweet where he's talking about COVID, and he then gets into a discussion with a bunch of scientists about how this works. And I learned something very, very interesting, audience. And that thing is that not only was PCR, polymerase chain reaction, the test that everyone is using to detect COVID, not only designed to actually detect infectious diseases, but the accuracy of using it for infectious diseases depends very, very much on how many times you do the amplification cycle. This is called the count. So you put a sample in the PCR machine, you add a primer, which I presume is the sample of DNA that you are looking to detect, and then you run the amplification cycle. Now, according to the people talking to Musk, right, you can say that it is positive if you get a result up to 28 or 30 cycles, right? You have to understand that the cycles are exponential. So every time you do a cycle, it's like 10 or 100 times more DNA you are producing. Guess how many cycles the NHS is using to detect coronavirus? 45. Apparently France is using 50. Now, this basically guarantees positive tests, like many false positives. Because when you do that many amplification cycles, you introduce the possibility of contamination or viral fragments if you had the virus and then you don't have it anymore. Tons and tons of fun. And that's not even before getting into the possibility of shady stuff with the figures. Apparently, another job that Dominion has in the US is they collate and transport coronavirus data. So I'm sure they can be trusted to get that right.
Nuts, man.
So that might explain why the case numbers are just going up and up and up, and yet deaths are basically remaining flat, and it just doesn't appear like
we've had this issue for I think for months now. And I was looking back on some of the work I was doing, and obviously the testing was not that great in March, April, May, you know, and so it didn't accurately correlate with how many people had this thing going through the public, and we still had, you know, the deaths that we had at that point. Now the testing is. I saw something. I was trying to just find it now. There are. It was up in Liverpool. I don't want to. I'm so sorry. I don't want to change this because I'm concerned that I will just get dropped from the conversation. But there's a story in Liverpool. The BBC ran it, and again, it was a false testing story, and it looks like even these cases aren't necessarily COVID proper. There were 200. I've got the Liverpool Echo in front of me now. 2,000 tests positive for COVID since mass testing began, and almost 600 have no symptoms. So, again, it's not, you know, it's not what we're hearing from the mainstream media every day now. I've been back at my parents' place just for the next few days, and the fear in this household is crazy. Since they're watching a lot of news and listening to the radio and so on. I don't get this too much at home because I'm getting a bit of more of a balanced view of this. But yeah, it's nuts, and it's frustrating because I guess you're going to jump onto this soon. But the chances of us staying in lockdown seem to be increasing.
Oh yes,
Scotland just went into another lockdown, didn't they? They hit a tier 4 lockdown, Scotland. So we're not. Yeah. It's going to be a cold winter, guys.
Well, and indeed, actually, this rolls nicely onto the point that's my next point that I was going to talk about, which is, will there be a Christmas? To quote that old sappy song, will they know? Will the children know it's Christmas time at all? Now, of course, originally this song, I think written for Live Aid, was meant to be talking about children in Africa and whether they would know it's Christmas while we were celebrating in the West. But now, will the children even know that it's Christmas now? With all the parents broke, and I personally, I was really quite bummed about this. Like yesterday, I don't see the lockdown ending. At this point, the game plan seems to be to just tell people, it'll only be a couple of weeks, it'll only be a month. And much like that deadbeat friend that you're trying to like get the money back off that you loaned to him, the payoff never materializes. It's always...
Dude, that's like the best analogy ever, man. That's the perfect analogy, seriously. It's like the deadbeat fucking friend. You borrow him some money and you keep telling him, hey, bro, could you give me the money back, please? And you know how he reacts. He's the one who gets pissed off. He's like, oh, all you think about is money. It's like
the government. Man, I got it. I totally got
exactly.
It. Just, give me another week, bro.
Man, and the government does the same fucking shit. People say, hey, man, can we have our freedoms back now? It's all over now. Hey, what are you, a conspiracy theorist or something? It's fucking insane, man.
Yeah, man. Come on. Who wants their freedoms back? I mean, come on. Freedom's overrated, right? I mean, who really needs it?
Yeah.
I hate this shit so fucking much, dude. It's like just fucking insane. And this, again, rolls very nicely into my next point about the Biederman scale. So I was looking around the other night, as I do, spending time on I can't remember where the fuck I originally picked this up from. So I found this thing called the Biederman scale, Joseph Biederman, right? Let me just share this. Come on, share the screen. Here we go. Right. So the Biedermann scale, communist coercive methods for eliciting individual compliance. Now, this research was done in about 1956 as a result of the experiences of US Air Force pilots that were captured in North Korea and the torture and false confessions that happened to them. This is a complete breakdown of all of the things that interrogators use on torture suspects in order to elicit individual compliance. And they basically break down like this, as you can see. Isolation, either complete or semi-isolation or group isolation, which encourages a intense concern with the self. The monopolization of perception, which focuses attention on your immediate predicament and fosters introspection. Induced debilitation or exhaustion, semi-starvation, exposure, sleep deprivation, prolonged constraint. We don't really have much of this at the moment. Threats, well, we definitely have some of those, particularly vague threats and mysterious changes in treatment.
Yeah.
Occasional indulgences. I found this one very, very interesting. So it's a common thing when interrogating prisoners to, what you're really, really trying to do is to get them to rely completely on the interrogator, right? Like you want the victim to begin to think of the interrogator as their only link to the world, as an omnipotent entity that controls everything about them. And a critical part of this is giving the person being interrogated little treats, a little positive reinforcement when they do the right thing,
Absolutely. Like the good cop, bad cop.
Exactly. So like opening up for a month or something before you stick the lockdown back in. Occasional favors, promises, rewards for partial compliance. It's great. Demonstrating omnipotence and omniscience to suggest the futility of resistance. Again, I'm not sure we're there yet, but you could definitely make an argument that the government is sort of trying to say, we see all, we know all, we can beat this thing. No, you fucking can't. You can't fucking beat nature. Just fucking deal with it. We've lived with the flu for thousands of years. Even when the Black Death happened, you didn't fucking, lock down like this. Degradation. Well, again, we're not there yet, ladies and gentlemen, but watch this space. And 8, of course, enforcing trivial demands, which develops a habit of compliance. And I think we are definitely getting that at the moment. As I have said on a number of occasions, it is not that the rules make sense. What is important is that you obey the rules. That's what's really important.
Absolutely.
I think Chris just dropped off there. You back?
And he's back.
Yeah. You were roboting a little bit, and then did this just happen? I don't know how that happened, but yeah, it happens on these things, I suppose. It's really interesting. I heard most of what you said there. It's getting a lot of people pretty, screwy, man. A lot of conspiracy kind of minded people and people who listen to conspiracy minded people. With the last week of what's happened, and you get Trudeau obviously mentioning the Great Reset. Lots of people's mental bells are ringing here, this is part of this whole thing. We've seen a lot of memes recently. People wearing masks compared to slaves wearing masks and stuff. The lockdown, which is basically a house arrest. People going a bit loopy. It's not a good recipe for what's going to be a pretty dark and cold winter anyway.
Indeed. And to roll on to the next point, there are some disturbing figures coming out about the lockdown. And I have links for this shit because I was busy linking up like a boss before the show. Just let me screen this.
We want to give
according to
the data.
we have wait a second. How do I stop screen, share screen? Sorry. The divorce rate has shot up. Surprise, surprise. More than 100,000 divorces in England and Wales last year. An increase of 19% from 2008, the highest since 2014. Although it would seem that actually we had more divorces in 2014, so I don't know whether that's as significantly. On the other hand, this is from the ONS, and the ONS has a lot of backlog going at the moment, which also leads into my next article about.
It's still a 5-year high, isn't it? Sorry, man. It's still a 5-year high. It's not that great, and it probably has something to do with COVID having hit us this year.
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon it does. Now there have also been rumours that indeed from St John's Ambulance, in fact. Oh, come on. I was sure that I had written this down. Okay, so St John's, the London Ambulance Service, one of the two, tweeted a tweet from a group called CARE, basically saying that the number of suicide attempts that they were attending has gone up by about 100% since the lockdown. Fortunately, I mean, we can't have people believing that, obviously. So fortunately, full fact, the fact checkers are here to save the day. There is no evidence that suicides have increased 200% under lockdown, which is not what the actual tweet claimed. What it claimed was that the number of attendances to suicide attempts by ambulance people has increased. And they then reference the ONS. However, the ONS has not released any figures for suicides since their last release was in 2019. But there's no news stories. How would they get the news stories? I mean, this is one of the reasons why I fucking love fact-checking websites, because what they generally do is they fact-check a completely different assertion to the one that is actually being asserted. And then they're like, how do you know that? I mean, come on, man. Come on.
It's a masterclass in using iffy language, isn't it? A lot of the time to make things sound like they're not what they appear to be. And it's a bit of a hoodwink, They really, I mean, some fact checkers are worse than others, and I know Facebook fact checkers are some of the most abysmal at the moment. But yeah, they just play hard and fast with words and gaslight the fuck out of people, honestly, a lot of the time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they must be correct. I mean, look, there are lots of fact checking websites have said that Trump doesn't have a case. So, I mean, that's me told. And, there's no reference to it in the mainstream media. So, obviously, I mean,
it was, come on. Yeah, there was, it was CNN just now. I saw it just before we started doing this. And there was a letter, was it Cathy McCann? I hate having to pronounce her name. Cathy McCann. The press secretary for Donald Trump had in her hand about 3 folders worth of information, affidavits and so on, and she was talking with a CNN presenter, and she completely ignored what she was saying. And you got data there, you got files in your hand. What does that mean? It means nothing. Go away. Stop it. So they're denying. They're really trying hard to deny what certainly looks like quite a lot of juicy pieces of evidence here for at least.
Guys, you know how is that run called with where one of the runners passes a stick to the next one? How is that stuff called?
It's called a relay.
A relay run, right?
Yeah,
a relay.
Right.
Relay. it's like we're getting something similar to that now. The run is the same one, like the process is the same, but we occasionally get these slight changes in who is dictating us the rules. So we get the illusion that the rules are changing, but actually the run is exactly the same one. I get a bit of a feeling like that. Like they occasionally, it's like what you said, what we were talking about, good cop, bad cop. They give this illusion that some change is coming, but actually it's exactly the same shit that was going on before. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
well,
a lie is a lie is a lie, right?
I'm just glad there's no possibility that sort of shady actors would use a pandemic or the threat of a pandemic in order to seize power. I mean, that makes me
zero
really
chance,
hard,
bro.
right? Knowing that literally cannot happen, and that everything the government tells us is true. And I actually bought a second mask for my junk the other day. Just to be safe. I mean, it's not like my dick breathes.
You wear it on the outside. You wear it on the outside, right?
No. Well, sometimes if I'm feeling saucy,
you have to put it on the outside, man. Come on now. So people need to know that you're trying really hard not to get COVID, right? It's like a signal, a COVID virtue signal. You got to make sure people can really see how much you care about their grandparents and so on, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's right. I like to put it on, and it fills me with a sense of moral superiority. When I go out of the house, it just knowing I'm better than other people. Oh God, it really does it for me.
Well, you get to feel this camaraderie that you're doing what you're told from the government as well. You're a nice, cool, calm, collected sheep, and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to, and you're not going to go off script. You're not going to mention anything irregular or controversial over the dinner table, because that just wouldn't be good, would it? And you just save the old people. I mean, the really old people. Old people that actually get through this. What is it? 90. What is it? 95% of the time, anyway. I can't remember. Yeah, it's.
Is it just me that finds it curious, right? That the left, the same people who say that they don't trust the government, and indeed a lot of them want to abolish the state, are the people most vigorously supporting the lockdown. And I mean, that just weirds me out. That's the kind of cognitive dissonance I really can't get my head around.
Absolutely.
Programming, mate.
Boris is a racist. Fuck the Tories. They
were told at the beginning, like, Boris is obviously a terrible person, but he's not doing enough. He didn't shut down the country quick enough. All of these people were dying. It's a terribly frightening virus. Could take over the whole world. Could be spread into space. Who knows? Jesus. And everyone pivoted against Boris, even though he did quite a lot to really screw with things first part of the year. And now they don't realize that it's actually a better look for them to be on the side of people, skeptical people who are concerned about the economy and who are worried about the hundreds of thousands of people that have lost their jobs and all the rest.
It makes me wonder, right, what would be happening if Corbyn had actually gotten in at this point. Because I have the feeling that he would have done the same kind of thing, except probably just like nationalized like a bunch of shit as well, and just been like, nice company. I think we'll take it.
Probably had his brother shouting in his ear like, "Oh, it's all fake. It's a false lockdown. Nothing's, it's all this virus is a hoax and blah blah blah." I do wonder. I mean, I think it looks as though it was a political, just a wrangling to just so that the left, Labour, had all of this muck to throw at Boris, and it was easy. It was really easy muck to throw anyway. Like, you're not doing, all these people are dying. It's Jesus, you've got to lock down, shut the whole thing down. And they're watching all of these scary movies about viruses and so on. Can't have helped them. But yeah, it was
28 days later, man. Yeah,
it's all political, right?
Gerard has commented that I am confusing the left with anarchists, and I guess that's actually true. Although I don't see many people on the right advocating for the complete removal of the state.
I Anarchy and communism are very close bedfellows, though, and they were for years and years. And people didn't, I don't think, fundamentally, and that they were listening to. I think there's continental anarchy, and then there's American anarchy, which is much more anarcho kind of capitalism and very libertarian in its outlook.
Continental anarchy. Is that like a continental breakfast? Like, do you get a little bit of everything?
As long as you're paying for it, mate. Yeah.
Sounds tasty. Anyway,
by the way, look, Chris, just one small thing. If you want to share a comment on the chat to the stream, all you have to do is click it, and it shows up on the stream itself. I sometimes.
Oh, you are absolutely correct. Let's see. Thanks, Pablo.
If you wanna, no
there you go, Gerard. You're famous, man. You know, you're.
I'm a professional now.
Literally uncounted millions of people listening to this stream at the moment. So many. You're going to be famous. The job offers are going to be rolling in. Oh my God.
8 views, bro. 8 views.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We must pretend to be larger than we really are. You know.
Oh, that's at 8,000, bro.
Yes, you know, like an insecure male packing his underwear to make his bulge look larger. You know, that's us. That's us. We're you know, we're trying to be Chads, but really we're just Simpson and pimps.
Bro,
anyway,
pimps,
so on to UK politics, ladies and gentlemen. So comings and goings. Dominic Cummings is out of number 10. He apparently lost in a power struggle with the person who's actually running the country. And no, it's not Boris Johnson. It's his fucking woman, the cute blonde lefty that he is betting, Carrie Simmons. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't recall voting for that, which is, yeah, a bit weird. So it looks like there has been a kind of soft coup, a coup via pussy, if you will.
Do you reckon he might be working for some other country? It's a pretty good plan if that's the case, right?
If
having
indeed,
the prime minister by the cock and balls, man. That's
well,
some
I mean,
power
this is
there.
the thing.
No
Carrie is an art history student. And as anyone who knows, anyone who studies art history, you definitely should not let them run countries because they don't know anything about politics. So that's not a good sign. Although maybe she's a communist honey trap. How could we know? I mean, big if true. Big if true,
makes her a communist. Yeah, yeah. I wonder what else is what's up with this girl. We should do some bit of a deep dive into this, man. At some point, like figure out who she actually is.
Come on, everything will have been scrubbed. There won't be anything there to find. You know, why even bother? Yeah. Let's just speculate and talk shit. You know, but yeah, I guess.
No, that's true. That's true. Let's keep this low.
In other news, there was a banner dropped from Westminster a few days ago by a group affiliated with Extinction Rebellion. They're kind of like Black Lives Matter, but they are sort of the pets or very, very close friends of Extinction Rebellion. Africans Rising, I believe they are called. Hang on, let me share the screen. Yes, there we go. The banner drop, of course, was done by the two whitest, most soy-looking individuals that you could possibly find. No fucking surprise there. And their demands are extremely crazy. Let me see if I've got it here. Yes, I do. List of
Bro, it's like just funny. Africans Rising, and it has two white dudes talking about it. It's just a bit.
Oh, you think that's funny? You know what their slogan is? Their hashtag? It is rewrite history.
No.
Not write with a W, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Rewrite history, because everyone knows if you're going to be historical revisionists and rewrite history, it is important to get your spelling right. You know, fuck the
rewrite history.
Like, honestly, you think that's bad, man? Check out their fucking demands. Holy crap, right? So they don't want much.
Think that do you think Africa Rising, this group, are going to be? I mean, some of the members or some people who potentially are looking to this for as a source of some kind of political further activity and stuff. They're going to be a bit pissed off that it's too white. As Pavlov says, it's two white people. It's just, I mean, you're hijacking.
No. You don't understand. It is the duty of white people to step up and be allies to help their poor black brothers, which definitely isn't
cultural appropriation,
kind of demeaning to black people.
More like step down and commit suicide, man. More like step down and commit suicide.
Yeah, well, that too. That too. After you've helped them, then you can, fuck off.
It's really like the biggest cultural appropriation moves I've ever seen have been white people getting involved in black people or minorities stuff anyway, right? That's hugely appropriating. And they running, obviously a lot of people are running this stuff anyway. It makes them feel so good though, and I can't discount that. The signaliness of it all, clearly. I mean, it's massive. It's just crack for these people, right?
We're just going to run through their demands. They're very reasonable demands. They don't really want much. So they want an apology from the UK government for the harm and human cost of slavery and colonialism, of course. Truth and reconciliation commissions. Oh, that sounds awesome. I can't wait for the healing to begin when they start hauling people in front of truth and reconciliation commissions so that they can confess their part that they played in colonialism, presumably because they live in a house that was once owned by someone who owned a slave, or they have some kind of money coming in from a corporation that used to have some connection. I mean, the opportunities are endless. Oh my God. The cancellation of all African debt. Very, very simple request. Not odious debt, not inappropriate debt, just all African debt, of course, because, I mean, those poor Africans, they don't know how money works. It's absolutely, horrible to expect them to know that if they take out a loan, they'll have to pay it back. I mean, that's just, they can't possibly know. I mean, this is the most racist shit I've ever goddamn heard.
Yeah. The investment coming into Africa after that point, will there be any? I don't know. Will they not just roll this forward and be like, yeah, this is quite a cool little trick we have here. We'll use it in the future as well. And I don't think any investor will want to plant any money. Oh my God, this is a joke, right? I'm sorry.
No. The Chinese will be perfectly willing to lend their money. But no, you're right. The West won't. Why would you lend money to a country with the possibility that they're just going to mount a political campaign and cancel all of the money that they owe you? No, it will be really bad for foreign direct investment. And I'm sure the Chinese will be more than happy to take up the slack and guarantee these loans, unlike the West, with actual chunks of territory or infrastructure. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, number 4, reparations. That old chestnut. I mean, it's time we address reparations and debt cancellation. It's time we take actions against the devastating effects of a global history of racism. It's time we join the dots between social, racial, and climate justice. Ah, yes, that old chestnut. Climate change, give us money. Fuck off. Oh my God, I'm so fucking sick of this shit, man. We need more money. Just give us money and power.
Gives me that.
Yeah, gives me
the
that.
very best scenario of this going forward. It's so sad, but the very best scenario is that we'll turn around to these nincompoops in this racially charged kind of very much radical kind of garb, and we just kind of start laughing at them and telling them you really need to go to school and do your homework. And whenever you do these naughty things again, you're just going to have to go and sit in the corner for a while. This is puerile, infantile stuff. This is the very best scenario going forward, and it's just laughable.
Dude, that's exactly what be done. But the problem is, it's like the perception of people has changed so much that even ridiculous statements and ridiculous fucking ideas like these nowadays are taken kind of seriously. It's like scary shit, man. Stupidity.
We're ruled by our emotions, I think, and lots of people around the West are still, well, you know, we look at these bleeding hearts and stuff, and we must feel for people who 8 generations ago were, you know, still in slavery and stuff. It's so tragic, so terrible. I mean, we've done all these great things since then. We give tons in aid and stuff, and we've opened our doors to migrants from across the world and happily and freely give what we have. And this is still happening. This is why I'm saying the best scenario is us laughing and chuckling at this. It's so sad, and there must be so many very well-oriented and smart minorities thinking, Jesus Christ, these guys make us look so freaking bad.
Christian, why are you so racist, bro? Why? Is it something from your childhood? Were you dropped on a head? Why are you racist, bro? Why?
I am quite white, as you probably
you suffer from the sin of whiteness. Obviously, you're not a beautiful black man myself. You know.
Who's whiter though? Who's the whitest of us though? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm the whitest.
That's a good question.
Well, I'm Eastern European, so that doesn't count as white, right?
Oh, doesn't it?
You scumbag. Slavic.
Motherfucker, I'm more white than you.
I don't know though. It seems to just be a color thing. I don't know. I'm pale like sour cream, so I don't know. It might be me. You're slightly more swarthy, aren't you, Christian?
Yeah, a little bit, tiny bit. I've got some Mediterranean blood in me. So. That's a good point. I got the proper Aryan grandma genes though, the German, the proper German side. So I shouldn't have let that out, should I? Jesus, people are really going to think this is a Nazi podcast now.
Absolutely. I mean, look, just all of the Nazi things. I mean, you know, come on.
Nah, man, don't worry. You know, the Nazi channel, you must be confusing this for the Ralph's channel. They kind of
indeed.
National Socialists there.
I mean, to be fair, my grandmother hated Nazism and hated the regime out there, and she did all she could to run away from it. But yeah,
she was smart then. She was very smart. It was no good to be around when socialists take power.
Speaking of socialists taking power, our next item is to do with critical race theory. Anyone who knows me knows that I fucking hate critical race theory. I am in agreement with Donald Trump. It is a cancer that needs to be expunged from the face of the earth. And in order to illustrate this, I want to go back to Dr. Biederman, the great Dr. Biederman, who I, just discovered the other day, who rather interestingly has an entire chart in this book about the stages of eliciting a false confession. Now, I didn't really think about it in this way, but a lot of the critical race theory struggle sessions, right, that people are subjected to are basically the eliciting of a false confession, right? They accuse you of being a racist. You be like, well, actually, I'm not a racist. And they're like, yes, you are. Oh, I fucked that up. How did I manage to fuck that up? God damn it. Right, there we go. Right. So when you are trying to demand a false confession, because this is one of the things that they used to do in communist North Korea, there were all of these different stages, right? So me telling you to get fucked is what they would call complete resistance. You then stress them enough and they move to defensive resistance. So instead of just walking out, they're like, no. And then they move on to defensive compliance, where they say it's possible that they were racist, but it's highly unlikely. It then moves on to active compliant, where you confess to being a racist, making a statement that your attitude was as racist as if you had been an actual racist. And then a subtly sabotage confession, presumably where you say that you're a racist, but you didn't mean it. And finally moves on to complete compliance, where you accept the objective truth of guilt and show involuntary symptoms of remorse. You cry and this kind of stuff. You accept your guilt as literally true. And most importantly, you make behavioral choices indicative of complete identification with and commitment to the captor. To critical race theory. I mean, is that just not a beautiful?
This fellow was writing in
the
50s, right? This is a 50s document. This fellow was writing in the 50s. Is that correct?
Yes, 1956. This was
you see,
reference to brainwashing in North Korea.
Right. You know, we've stepped so far ahead of that. Though we're, because of the white privilege, because of the microaggressions, because of this, the nascent white supremacy we've been told we have for the last few years. It's all it's interesting. It's great stuff, obviously, but it's so easy to navigate this whole arena here and tell people, white people, sorry, we're very racist anyway. People are just accepting of this, and the microaggressions, all of the privilege just makes us inherently much more racist than other people, even though
I don't agree. I think that this has been cynically weaponized against the majority population of the West to enforce compliance and behavioral control. And I think that given it was the Chinese communists who came up with this model originally, I think we must lay the responsibility at their door.
Dude,
which leads me on.
Hold on, Chris. Let me just say one thing, just one remark. See it from this perspective. Chinese, in China, the Chinese government does not give two shits if they're accused of racism. They do not give two shits because it won't result in anything in their country. There won't be any protests because they can simply send people home. There won't be any dissent because they can simply brainwash people and fucking intimidate them to not do anything. There will be nothing, literally nothing. And there's been so many actively violent racist movements in China that I lost count at this point, man. There's been so many fucking things like those. But they simply don't give a shit. Why? Because they're a totalitarian country. But they do understand that they can press the race button with the West as fucking long as they want to. And what can the Westerners do about it? Well, they kind of have to face it and prove they're not actually racist. And that leads it, that makes the game go on their terms. They make this ridiculous claim that the West is, it's patriarchy, it's racism, it's white supremacy, blah, 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 even though it's literally the most tolerant place in the world. Like, there's Western countries are the most tolerant countries in the world. There's no fucking comparison.
We have a problem,
That's exactly why they are trying to defend themselves. They're trying to participate in this stupid discussion of these stupid accusations, because that's one of the weaknesses of freedom of speech and of the West, and they're fucking pressing all the buttons, all the weaknesses of the West. It's just how it is, man.
I agree.
It's a sad thing as well. We have certain ethnicities and so on in this country that are, across the West, that are being used in this game. And I have to admit now, the Democrats in America, the Labour Party and so on, momentum in this country, it's all over Europe as well. It is true, we are being used, and our niceness and this altruism we have had for so long is just being used against us.
It is being used for power and demoralization, I think, is the way to.
And we've been on the back foot for a long while, I think a lot of
people are not used to having to make false confessions and having to defend society, generally speaking. In the West, generally speaking, you're only called upon to defend your own individual actions. And by flipping this around and saying, you have to defend the society that you are a part of, well, no one fucking controls society, right? If you charge someone with systemic racism, what the fuck does that even mean? I didn't build society,
we need to social justice, right? It needs to be social justice, which is what? I mean, no one's really there are no, as you say, no victims no perpetrators when you look at things in that kind of context. It's just social justice. So
man, it's
we are all guilty.
Social justice is not a new term, by the way, right? It was around in the 40s when communism was a thing. It is a way of mobilizing one group of people against another group of people with the lie that after the struggle, everyone will be equal instead of everyone eating from a bowl of ashes. I guess, it's equal in that like everyone gets to eat from the bowl of ashes, but it is a far more impoverished society that results, which rolls quite nicely onto my next point about the God Emperor, Donald Trump, and his fight against critical race theory in the US government. Now, Stanford has now come out with a checklist to evaluate diversity training to comply with this executive order. And I would just like to read a little bit of this because it is just beautiful. I can't fucking zoom this in.
Zoom it a little bit more, man.
So you are now not allowed to teach a diversity training program if it has any of the following statements: that one race or sex is inherently superior to another, that the United States is a fundamentally racist or sexist place, that any individual by virtue of his or her race or sex is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. An individual should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex. That members of one race or sex cannot and should not attempt to treat others without respect to race or sex. That an individual by virtue of his or her race or sex bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. And that meritocracy or traits such as hard work ethics are racist or sexist or were created by a particular race to oppress another race. Now, I think most people would agree with this if explained in this way. But this basically
absolutely. I think everybody should completely agree with every single one of them. The problem is, I was saying, oh Lord, because this should not be necessary. This is obvious. Every single one of these things is like child's play. It's obvious that these things should be put in practice. That's what the West has always done, at least the last 20, 30 years. And by the West, I don't mean, by the way, Nazi Germany, obviously, because, they kind of went a different path. But let's not talk about that. But this should be obvious. And yet, nowadays, we need to explain these things because people don't fucking get them. People are just so lost. Their perception has been so distorted that they no longer understand these things. And you have to explain it to them. It's like so stupid, man. Somebody asks you, oh, but 1 + 1. I was told that 1 + 1 = 2, but that's a racist idea. I think actually 1 + 1 = 10. And then you are like, no, man, 1 + 1 = 2. And he's like, oh no, that's racist. Are you racist? What? I'm not gonna listen to you. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, there was a big debate on Twitter about the validity of math and all of this kind of crazy stuff. That's how far it has gotten, ladies and gentlemen. Just to believe in math is a crime.
It was a very easy. Yeah, I mean, it was an easy situation growing up for me when I was younger. Through the late 80s and 90s and so on, life was so much easier. We got told, be nice to other people and be nice to all of your friends until they are, idiots to you and so on. And now I really am concerned for people growing up and going through school and stuff and listening to this. And it's clearly creating an environment where people are naturally building walls between races and between the sexes and so on. It must be terrifying. I mean, it must be a pretty frightening place. I don't know, man. I do despair a little bit because it was so much simpler when I was growing up. You didn't have any of this going around. We knew our history. We understood various histories of various peoples around the world were tainted in some respects. That good and bad things accrued from doing stuff through history and wars or whatever else, we were living in an age where that didn't matter so much anymore, where there's a lot of a lot of wealth and a lot of good-hearted people. Now it's just looking like this multiculturalism thing is going awry. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's not multiculturalism per se, in my opinion. It is fucking communism. Like, seriously. The UK has been multicultural for ages.
Sorry,
I mean, you can make the argument that maybe immigration has got a little bit too high and it has something to do with it. But the fact of the matter is that previously you didn't have a system of thought going around where you could essentially just blame one racial group for all of the problems in society. This never goes well.
Absolutely. I misspoke. I'm trying to say multiculturalism, the way it is playing out at the moment, and the way the powers that be seem to be using race to really pick on certain demographics. Let's just say that way. I think it is disgusting, and I am concerned because I mean I and I know you as well. We speak to people from various racial minorities often. And there's a level of hatred there that I see in some of these individuals, and you try and tell them these things, and they just do not listen. And you're suddenly,
racism is back, baby, and not for the reasons that most people think. It was actually slumbering pretty quietly, with it being like only the domain of the sort of mentally retarded or the really
those
but it's making a comeback, baby. Like,
exactly,
it's a game everybody can play, I mean, unless you're biracial, I guess, in which case, I don't know, do you have to pick a side? I really feel for people who are biracial. Can you imagine having one black parent and having one white parent in, say, the US at the moment? That would just be freaking horrible.
What you do is, and I know this to be a fact, I've heard many people say this, even people I know, you double down, essentially. You double down on one of your of the races that you belong to, and that's often the case. And then you have to play Charlie Big Bollocks, trying to persuade everyone that you're just as black as they are, or white. It's not necessarily the same thing. If you're from a decent family, good, who work hard, have the right attitude, and so on, it's a lot easier if you're mixed race in that kind of setting, in that kind of scenario. But it is not so good, unfortunately, for people who are from more working class, harsher backgrounds. You do have a bit of difficulty often fitting in. It sucks, man. I can empathize to a point, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. So last news item, chaps, and then I guess we'll chat and we'll probably wrap up at past. So I don't know how many of you are aware of the new Mary Wollstonecraft statue that was erected in Angel. It is a really, really beautiful statue, actually. I don't have an image of the way it normally looks, but it is a nude statue. Whoa. And, and I always found it really, really funny to think that this statue of a feminist icon is in this park, and most guys walking past are just going to be like, that's a nice pair of tits on that statue, which is obviously a terrible, terrible thing to think.
Unacceptable, man. I think they should be all killed at the spot. That's it.
Absolutely.
That is an accurate portrayal of this girl, right? That's an accurate representation of this lady. Because
no. It's meant to be a symbolic statue of the struggle for womanhood, if I recall correctly.
Really?
And in the classicist woke tradition, it has been improved by being covered up by some random vandals who have given it a tube top and panties made out of masking tape and a cloak. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that's a definite improvement. I mean, think of that.
Who did the vandalism? Do we have any idea who did this?
I don't have any idea who did this, but feminists.
Yeah. Okay. That's quite funny, man.
Were already saying they were uncomfortable with the fact that it was nude, Well,
this is the problem with a lot of feminists. I think that there were two camps here. One one that really enjoy, the female body and stuff and want to flaunt that. You get a lot of nude, like topless marches and stuff. The XR were pretty good at this. And then you get the other, I think, slightly older feminists who are often not the best looking people who want to just cover up and don't like their bodies very much at all and have a big problem with the objectification of women. So, it's the feminism eats itself regularly, right?
Yes, it does. And it eats everybody else along with us. I got to say, man, like, I was rereading some of 1984 last night, and it is fucking bang on. Orwell talks about an environment where no one can trust one another, where like you're not allowed freedom of speech like at all. Everything develops into like crazy euphemisms. Everyone denies the evidence of their senses. We're getting near there. And I am not confident of the current trajectory. I guess we will see whether Trump gets back in. I think if he does, that will provide a tremendous normative push in the other direction. And presumably, he will probably say to Boris, listen, we're not going to like deal with you if you back this commie bullshit. Which I very, very much hope that he does. And of course, the second thing will be whether there will be a Christmas or not, or whether everyone's going to be like celebrating it, huddled in their homes together. Jesus Christ, this took a grim turn. But I don't know what else to say, man. Like, grim times.
Yeah, well, we got problems with obviously, we had a lot of trouble just going to pubs in the run up to this whole thing. And it was really getting freaking annoying, and having to sit down and then all this ordering off of apps and stuff, and having just annoying altercations with the bar staff, and you're having to wear masks to your tables and whatever else. It already is getting to the point where we're not enjoying going out. As Brits, I have a big problem with this because we love going out and getting lashed, right?
Yeah.
So when it is cold in winter, you want to go and sit in a nice pub and have a few drinks. And already people and friends just recently I was talking to are really becoming discouraged from just doing that. And that's going to be there anyway, regardless of whether lockdown carries on or not. It's not looking great, I must say. I'm thinking it will probably be all right. We'll have a few days. I don't think the government are going to be that just despotic as to say you can't have, when has this ever happened before in our history? Christmas is cancelled, right? I remember Robin Hood, the old Robin Hood film, Call Off Christmas.
Well, I mean, it will be a big indication either way, because even the Puritans couldn't do that.
Right.
So if they can indeed get away with that shit, that will really indicate that the UK populace has been demoralized to the point where they cannot really resist. By the way, the kitten on the screen is just some eye bleach to soothe everyone. Don't think of the bad things. Look at the little kitten. Isn't it cute? No, just go back to your internet. Oh, actually, I have some other stuff. So I have been messing around with this very, very cool generator that makes fake tweets. Wait, is that coming up? Hang on, wait a second. Let me stick this up. Where the fuck is it? Oh, right. Other window. I knew that. Just to
little yes, I like Benjamin Franklin. Nice.
Just to tell Twitter to get fucked.
This claim about liberty is disputed. No way. What? It's got to be Benjamin Franklin. He tweeted this yesterday, right?
July 4th,
Benjamin Franklin, man. I went to school.
He's got an account. He's really big on social media, obviously. Shit. And
this one as well, of course, I'm quite proud of as well. From the World Economic Forum. In the future, you will own nothing. Everything you have is rented and you are surveilled every second of the day. You have never been happier to keep your misgivings to yourself. Trust your government and keep silent. Hashtag CCP, hashtag climate change, hashtag COVID-19, hashtag lockdown.
I like it how they didn't dispute this one, though. World Economic Forum.
Bro,
obviously, this is something that the type of stuff that they...
It's a fake tweet, right?
Like, I know. Of course I know this.
Dude, guys, you're focusing on the wrong shit. 666 likes, man.
Yep.
No way.
Everything Illuminati confirmed, bro. Illuminati confirmed.
Well, the World Economic Forum is probably the closest thing we have to the Antichrist at the moment, I would think. Yeah.
So when hang on. So when they disputed Benjamin Franklin, right? Does that just come up on? Do they just randomly add those with this meme generator, or because
no,
I'm wondering why
I had to figure out how to do the disputed line myself.
Right, okay.
Actually, because the generator I was using didn't do it, so it took a little bit of work. But I got the template for it now, so I can do more. My mind is abuzz with the possibilities.
Get creative, man. Good stuff. Nice. Yeah, cool. That's something that he would certainly say that.
As I think it was Biden was saying, a dark winter, which is again not great. I better go back to the picture of the kitten. I think just so that everyone can be soothed.
Well, can I just? I'm fairly confident that there might be something here with Sidney Powell and all of the evidence that hopefully they're collating and getting together. So it will be a freaking awesome Christmas for me if Trump does make it into for another 4 years. I have to say that's gonna really make me feel pretty fantastic. So let's just cross our fingers, guys.
For freedom and for America, and hopefully Santa Trump will scatter a few crumbs of freedom down our chimney and kick these commie motherfuckers to the curb. I really hope so, man.
We won't be out of salt.
Fuck's sake.
We'll have plenty of salt forevermore if we do get this thing.
Oh, that would be a great Christmas present. Think of all the incredible YouTube videos that's going to come out if Trump wins. Oh my God, it will just be epic. Holy shit. I'll probably just gorge myself for like an entire week on just all of the insane salt. I mean, 2016 was like bad enough. I mean, actually, who thinks we'll actually see someone immolate themselves if Trump wins? Anyone?
Hopefully no. They'll immolate the enemy, not immolate ourselves.
No, I reckon. I reckon we'll probably get at least.
Hang on. What immolate means kill yourself, right?
No, to set yourself on fire. Like the.
Right. Yes. Sorry. Gotcha. No, let's just immolate the enemy in World of Warcraft.
No,
obviously
mean,
we've got to be careful what we say.
You could be a torch for freedom and justice, and protest fascism by giving your life. I mean, this is an interesting point, actually, to turn a little serious for a moment. Once they do cross that Rubicon, if someone does indeed do something that ends their life and becomes a hero or a martyr, then another chunk of the evolution of that part of the left into like a proper terrorist group will slide into place, because it's that basic ideology that enables things like suicide bombings and all kinds of like crazy stuff. I mean, think of the possibilities. XR could go like full militant or something. I mean, maybe they like plant themselves in soil and like wait for like a tree to go through them. I mean, it would take a few.
I think it might be I'm hoping that Donald Trump and the Republicans will be a lot more.
I think you've dropped out there, Christian. Yeah, he has. Pavlov, you got any thoughts on the possible massive salt that will ensue if Trump does triumph?
The oceans will become salt with a little bit of water added.
Indeed. All of the poor fishies will be drowning in the salt. But I mean, the soy crop will be okay. Which of course is the critical supply. I hope they have critical defense soy stocks. In case of soy shortage.
There's not any shortage anytime soon, bro.
Yeah, let them do them. We could. I think it would be a lot safer for us just to pick a few states in some respects and some really nice cities and just be Republicans in those cities and let the left have California and New York.
California and Oregon, I think, is what they're going to go for at the moment. They're probably going to have the West Coast secede.
Yeah.
Watch this space, I guess.
Let them have their communist utopias, and we can do the capitalist thing. And they won't have any ability to take anything, all the good stuff that we make, all the innovations, all the cool shit that capitalism often produces. They can go and live in their commie utopias and make their own way. It'd be so funny.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we'll wrap it up. We've been running for an hour and a half. Thank you very, very much to everyone listening. I have been Christopher Carrion. Our guest has been Pavlovian Response. Say hi again, Pavlov.
Hi.
We will, I will be on his stream that probably starts at 9 o'clock in case you've got fuck all to do and you want to listen to more of this kind of like random bullshit.
Yep. I shared the link for the stream in the comments.
Oh, there you go. It's being shared, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. So we'll be back with you guys very soon.
So you have no excuse not to come along. My co-host has been Christ himself. Say hi, Christian.
Christ himself. Hi, yeah. Or ciao, my lovelies. See you soon. We'll be back.
Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, fist the news before it fists you. We will be back.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Thanks very much for coming, everyone. And we'll see you again soon.
See you guys later.